That's kind of an intense video, okay? And it really struck a chord with me. For those of you who know me, I have a son-in-law who's in the military. And he actually lost one of his friends who died in his hands in Iraq. And after he'd been blown up in an IED, his friend passed away. We were just talking about yesterday, actually. He's actually buried in Missoula, Montana. And he has not been able to go to his gravesite since that day. And that's like 2007. He died for heart attack. So this is a very real thing in the military in terms of the emotions and the commitment to each other. And the reason I wanted to show you this video is that I think we have a piece of this. I mean, I don't think we'll ever reach that level of intensity, but the point of the video was to really demonstrate to you what being of service to others means. During the course of our day, and this is what this is about, in my view, being of service to others is a daily thing. I think it's really important that when you're going through your day, and you're just kind of not sure what to do, or you get into your own little zone, and you can become very myopic during the course of your work day. If you're just not sure what to do, or maybe you come into work and you're like, you're just thinking about your own growth, think past that. Because that's what happens in this video. The soldiers and Marines and Coast Guard, Airmen, Army, all them, they don't have the luxury of thinking about themselves. Because the people around them count on them to live, literally survive. And you've got a good flavor of that. So I guess my advice, my suggestion, go back to this. If you're just not sure what to do, and you're just kind of folding like a pill bug or not sure what's happening, be of service to others. A commitment. You got to commit yourself to it. I think being committed to that course of action is it's a discipline, because again, in the course of your day, you're just not sure what to do. If you're committed to that philosophy of being of service to others, that's what's important. You got a little sense of that from when he talked about the 4 doctors working on 1 Marine in the back of an airplane. They're flying over the Atlantic back to Dover Air Force Base in the United States, and you can get the best medical care possible, probably Walter Reed. And the doctor said, yeah, this is what's gratifying to us, because we're doing the right thing for the right people. Being of service to others. These are 4 highly, highly trained, combat trained doctors that are treating 1 Marine, because that's what that Marine means. He's everything for them. Situational awareness. It looked like Simon Sinek initially didn't have that. He was confused. He was scared. He was panicking. And then he just started to look within himself. He started to understand what was happening around him and the culture that surrounded him. And he just simply mirrored that culture. That's all he did. He said, okay, I need to get down to brass tacks here. Like you said, I'm willing to move boxes and sweep floors, I don't care. And that's the kind of stuff that we see all the time in our dental practice. I see people picking up, maybe a ball gets dropped, somebody picks it up. Somebody helps somebody else. Somebody sees instruments in the lab that need, cleaning or sterilization. Fine, it's your problem, it's not mine. You need to work as a team. You need to be of service to others. Compassion. I think that word tends to get tossed around a lot. Again, with all the people that are in this room, we bring our life with us. Sometimes that baggage is heavy. Sometimes that baggage is light. I think compassion can drive your desire to be of service to others. It's an automatic. I think if you're compassionate, you automatically be of service. You'll see people in need. And maybe that person's a patient. Maybe that patient's COVID. You don't know. It can vary from minute to minute. So that's one of the things I think that we need to be aware of. Humility. I think we really try to engage in our dental practice, the things that we do daily, with humility. It's very easy to become complacent and to become even arrogant at times in our dental practice, because we are pretty successful. But with success can possibly become hubris and arrogance. And that can drag a practice down, because then it becomes a very much an individual effort, not a team effort. It's not culture driven, nor is it necessarily lend itself to being of service to others. And of course, the last one, and which is the key to this, is remembering to be of service to others. And that doesn't just mean amongst ourselves, it obviously means being of service to our patients and going that extra mile. You know, maybe walking them to the car, texting them after a procedure, maybe just sitting out in front. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, maybe just sit next to a patient. We just had a patient whose wife and Dr. Ong spent a lot of time with her husband, just chatting. He took some time aside out of his day, just to talk. No dentistry involved, there's nothing going on. He just felt the need to be of service, you know, to do something good. I know Dr. Jensen's a real expert at that as well. He really engages with the patients. Dr. Neda, who's actually just kind of, he's a natural. You know, he jumped right in there. It was very organic for Dr. Neda to talk to patients in that manner. And certainly it leads from the top down, but I think all of you that are here are quite good at that. And I just don't want you to lose sight of how valuable it is to be. And that is kind of the core of being of service of what we do, is understanding that whole human element, that we are human people. We're not patients, we're not members, we're not anything. So. Okay, so why do we do this? Well, why? I think that's how we started here. So what's the result of all this being of service? Well, number one is the patient experience. I mean, I think we've heard on more than one occasion how patients come to us, and then they leave, and they're like, why did I leave? We get that a lot. You know, patients that come back from out of state, they have bad experiences in other dental offices, or just in general. You guys are next level. I mean, but that has to come from here. That's not something that's contrived. That's not something you can go to a seminar and they say, hey, you should do this. Those are untrainable things. You can't train people to do that. They either have it or they don't. And I think we're pretty fortunate in that we've gotten a pretty good group of people here who all seem to subscribe to that philosophy. And I can assure you that it's not easy to find this many people who subscribe to that. Because sometimes just people don't want to get on board. And again, it's untrainable. You know, we tend to find that even in dentistry amongst doctors. You know, as you well know, dentists and doctors, you know, have a little ego, and sometimes it's all about us and not about everybody else. So trying to find a group of people in general that subscribe to this whole philosophy of being of service is difficult, so we're very fortunate. Practice loyalty, that's just kind of a given, that's an outgrowth of the patient experience. You know, these patients that come back, I had a couple of patients that came back, and they were super excited to be back in practice. We spent 10, 12 years in Arizona, and like, oh my God, I'm so glad to be back. And it felt really gratifying to hear that from the patient, that they missed us. You know, they missed who we are, they missed camaraderie and closeness. And I think the way that we express that in our practice every day amongst ourselves is infectious. The patients see it, and they like that. They don't see a lot of conflict, they don't see a lot of yelling, screaming. And I know all of you have probably worked in dental offices where there is conflict, and it's hell. And we've gone through it too. We've had our issues as well in this practice, so it's not like we're immune to it. So keep up the good work. One of my favorites, this is one of Dr. Ong's, commitment versus compliance. We talk about this here and there. There are a lot of dental practices, a lot of organizations that are really good at compliance. Basically, that's a big stick and not a whole lot of carrot, and you kind of get browbeat into following systems in your practice. But there's no, it doesn't come from inside. You know, like Simon Sinek was talking about, with his desire to be of service, even in the most minimal way, he was committed to doing something that was positive in an incredibly trying atmosphere. I mean, he's seen dead soldiers and rockets flying at him, and he's not been in combat. He's not a military guy, and I can assure you that experience for civilians is probably quite jarring. And he was able to get through it because he was committed to doing something. And I think just the fact that you have that level of commitment toward the dental practice to your patients is enough of a reward to motivate you to keep doing it. So if for no other reason, it's definitely a feel-good thing. But I think internally, I think most human beings want to be of service to others and to help. We just happen to be in a profession that's kind of has to be built into your DNA, regardless of your personality test. Professional satisfaction, I think to a person, the money's great, it's all cool to have 401ks and paid vacations and ADTMs and Christmas parties and all that. But all that stuff is fleeting. I think professionally, what really counts is that we're satisfied with how we treat our patients and how we treat our coworkers and our desire to come to work. And I know a lot of staff members show up to work on their days off. I'll never understand that, but they do, because they just like to hang out. I've never heard of such a thing. And it's awesome. I think that says a lot about who we are. All of you, we got babies all over the place. I get pretty excited when I see all the kids come in and the moms come in. Dr. Jensen rolls in teen leave on Wednesdays. And it's awesome. Yeah, it's on the way, but I think it's cool. I mean, I know Sarah, April, all you guys show up. And I think it's, that really makes me feel good, that you feel that our dental practice is not just a dental practice, it's actually a home for you. Because it really is. We spend a lot of time together, guys. At the end of the day, we spend more time with each other probably than the people we have at home. So, and then the end, having a higher moral purpose by thinking beyond yourself, which is, again, kind of the core of being of service to others. I think, from a moral standpoint, again, I think it's built into our DNA as human beings. I think at a deeper level as healthcare professionals, it's an absolute requirement. You have to be able to think past yourself. But that should not just translate to the patients, it should always also translate to the people we work with. So I guess in parting, I would say, as we kind of solidify our culture, stewardship and relationships and everything else we're going to talk about, that one of the core values that we should really try to instill in ourselves is being of service to others. And being of service extends, again, not to just the patients, it extends to our coworkers and everybody that we work with. And I think you'll find that'll pay huge dividends, and it is definitely an actionable item. This is something you can implement immediately. And so you'll see that my whole tenor here has been to take this to a deeper level with you guys, because we've talked about it. Now you've seen Simon Sinek talk about it from a very tried circumstance and how important it is and what the actual rewards are to try and continue to build and bolster our culture. Thank you.